Max Moore is one of the people in the world who wants to go beyond the science we know today. Is it speculation or is it science about your future? He calls it, his movement, extropy. In relation to who we are and what we feel, the senses, which is the subject of this Bonner conference, he has a speech that's called Virtue and Virtuality. How do you see that, Max? What is virtue in cyberspace?
What I'm concerned about is that in our virtual worlds of the future, when we've really left the human body or really don't spend much time in our bodies, I want to be sure that our virtual worlds will sustain the best capabilities of human beings, our personal responsibility, our self-control, our ability to grow, to flourish, to develop. There'll be a big temptation, I think, in some of these virtual worlds to just lose ourselves, lose our capabilities, in a kind of an enhanced video game where we'll essentially just be reacting to something programmed by a machine and we'll become very rigid in our behavior. So my paper really is about how to stop that, and also some of the technologies that will help to counteract that effect. On the one hand, we're moving into virtual realities. On the other hand, we're also moving towards what you might call enhanced perception or enhanced reality, where instead of being lost inside a virtual world, we'll have a virtual overlay on our senses. So my visual field, I may have superimposed on that other images, information, even readouts on inside my body. So my senses could become more penetrating. I may understand what's going on, what my heart is doing, whether it's beating too fast. If I have hypertension, high blood pressure, I may see that as a red haze over my visual field. I better see the weather patterns, the temperature directly without having to look it up. So I think we'll greatly increase our cognitive contact with the world. Our senses will understand more of the world. But we may move in the further future, as computer power and bandwidth explode, I think we will move more into virtual realities and have less time perceiving the external world. So really my concern is that we build these virtual worlds to enhance communication, to help us improve our relationships, to be creative, to foster our abilities, not to stifle ourselves, not to become rigid.
It feels as if you're saying we don't have to move ahead with technology, but we have to move sideways too. We have to bring senses and other aspects of life into what we're doing, instead of just going for faster and more complex in like a vertical direction.
Yeah, I love technology. I love accelerating technology. I love anything new, but I also feel that we need to pay attention to what we're doing with it. It's not that we should prevent certain technologies being developed, but we should have a positive focus on what we want to achieve with those technologies. I think rather than just looking for the bigger thrill or pure novelty, we need to really think about how to improve the way we live, how to make ourselves more intelligent, smarter, emotionally more in control, improve our relationships, improve our communication skills through these technologies. Not just to make them more glittering and faster for their own sake, but to make life better.
Could you say they need to be more rooted?
More
rooted. More earthly.
I think they need to be rooted in the human experience. Although, as an extropian, I look forward to becoming post-human. To me, that doesn't mean rejecting who we are today. It doesn't mean denigrating our bodies or destroying our identity as it is. It really means transforming that and building on it, taking the best of human beings, our creativity, our rationality, our intelligence, our ability to feel sympathy and empathy, and building those through technology, through directly altering the body technologically and through virtual worlds. Not denigrating or denying all of our humanity, just building on the best parts of it.
Could you explain quickly what extropy then is in that sense?
Extropy is it's really the contrary of the tendency of physical things to break down towards disorder and decay. So extropians are those who want to increase extropy. We want to increase human intelligence, take control over the human body, which has really been something we had no choice over before. Using technology to alter our biological responses, to perhaps implant computers directly in the brain to increase our memory abilities, our processing abilities, to extend our lifespans so we don't really have to die or age anymore, and essentially to merge with technology in a post-human synthesis that will increase our freedom and our abilities.
Senses. Now we can talk technology, but let's look at some other things like the legal implications of expanded, enhanced senses. What would that mean if people are going to be better than other people? Do we need a legal structure for that?
I think certain new legal roles will have to evolve, because some people's perception of reality will become a lot more fine than other people's. And I think eventually as another extropian theorist, Sasha Chislenko, suggested, eventually it may even become illegal to have unenhanced senses, because it may be very dangerous when other people can perceive a lot more than you can. If you walk around half blind, effectively, you may cause danger to other people. So it may even become illegal to be a normal human being. But I think we will need new rules to help people on different levels of perception communicate and to deal with one another.
There is the danger of an ethical rift where some people have the money or the talent to get enhanced senses and others will not. So you get a separation between those who have these, say, technologically enhanced senses and those who have not.
I don't think it's a new problem, the rift between those who have and those who have not. I think the way I see it, as long as we keep our system open, it's true that some people will have those things first, but I think that the period of time now between those who have and those who get later is shrinking. It's like with the personal computer. It's not very long since they used to be very expensive. Now practically anybody can afford them except the very poorest. Whereas it used to be with, say, automobiles, it was decades before most people had an automobile. The first ones came out in the 1870s. It wasn't until the 1920s or 30s before they started becoming common. So I think this time is shrinking, and with new technologies, the market is very large and they'll soon be affordable by practically anybody.
Do you think that the model that we have in the medical world, where teams of doctors decide who's going to get a new kidney or open heart surgery, that model of an ethical committee will be applicable to these technological enhancements of the senses, of the super extropian possibilities?
I don't think so, and certainly I intend to do my best to make sure that's not the case. I think it should be up to each individual to decide if they want that for themselves, and if they wanted to go ahead and get those augmentations and modifications done. And I think that there are a lot of economic pressures that will keep it out of control of any particular group. I think, for instance, for any kind of job you do, it'll be helpful to have faster thinking, better senses, and so corporations, work teams will really push to have that happen for everybody. So it'd be very hard to control this kind of technology, I think.
To make this a little bit more practical, what we're talking about is technology that, for instance, would help you to hear better. If you have a hearing impediment, you would have something in your ear that would help. The same could go for your eyes, not only a plastic lens, but anything that we could really put technology there to help you see. Then there's two things. There's augmentation and, say, bringing people to a base level. Like you can't see, now you can see. Which in your ID should have priority in research and in application?
I don't think either has priority. I think that the same developments will help both areas. For instance, there are already artificial retinas. There are now chips that can be implanted directly on the retina of the eye that will give vision to people who are blind. And there are artificial cochleas now which can let people who really were completely deaf before, they can now hear well enough to hold a telephone conversation. The same kind of technology being used for disabled people will help normal people expand their capabilities. There's a lot of stuff coming along. For instance, Federico Fagin, who's one of the inventors of the microprocessor, now at Synaptics Corporation, they've developed a chip which I saw demonstrated quite impressively. It will filter out background sound. So imagine you're in a huge party and you're trying to focus on someone over there speaking. You'll be able to filter out the irrelevant noise and just really pick out the one person you want to hear. I think that would be an extremely useful device. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff under development.
Well, Max, it seems technology hasn't stopped, certainly. It's going on, and you're one of the people who at least thinks about the implications of that.
Yeah, and today, this afternoon of the conference, really we have several people together who are all thinking about the future, both the near and the far future. People who are really trying to gather some idea of how the world can be in the future and prepare the public for it, because most people have no idea what's coming. They realize things are accelerating and they're a little bit afraid. Mm-hmm. So this afternoon at the conference, we'll really be thinking towards the post-biological era, what comes after humanity and how can we prepare for it. It's going to be an exciting time.
I think so. Thank you, Max Moore, from the magazine Extropy, and I would say the Extropy movement, and a new book about this is coming out with Hardwired,
called The Future of Human Beings, coming out this fall.
Okay. This was Max Moore, and I was Luc Sala for Myster Media. Thank you.
Thank you.
Es ist uns beim Sitzen oft ein bisschen langweilig, weil wir, wenn es nicht wieder einmal handgreiflich wird, keine lauernden Jäger und sich duckenden Opfer mehr sind, aber dennoch überall eine Höhle als Aufenthaltsort bevorzugen. Deswegen einfach für uns ein bisschen was passieren soll, nachdem ja auch die Vorstellungskraft, also das innere Kino, an Auszehrung leidet. Laufen soll man beim Denken, sagte noch Nietzsche, weil man sonst an mentaler Verstopfung leidet. Auch die Peripathetiker und alle